All right, it's Super Bowl week, so I wanted to do something special for y'all. And what I decided on is ranking the top 10 Super Bowls of all time, according to me, BG. So, without further ado, here we go. We're going to start with number 10, and that is Super Bowl 52, the matchup between the New England Patriots and the Philadelphia Eagles. Yes, this was the Eagles' first Super Bowl in franchise history. Nick Foles had an absolute masterclass. He was 28 for 43 for 373 passing yards and 3 touchdowns. This game was an all-out shootout. It was a riveting watch. Tom Brady had arguably the best quarterback performance of all time in a Super Bowl that didn't get rewarded with a Lombardi trophy itself. He had 505 passing yards and still lost this game. Sometimes it's just your year, and that was the case for the Philadelphia Eagles as they won Super Bowl 52 and clinched their first Super Bowl in franchise history. Super Bowl 52 at number 10. I know I may catch some flack for having that game this low, but y'all can understand. I'm dealing with a lot of classic Super Bowl games, and there's a lot of different ways I can approach this, so I've got 52 at 10 nonetheless. At number 9, I have Super Bowl 47. The night that the lights went out in NOLA. Yes, part of the lights went out in the Superdome for 34 minutes in the third quarter. A whole strand was out. It was nuts. I'll never forget it in real time when it happens. And at that time, the Baltimore Ravens were dominating the San Francisco 49ers. This was the Harbaugh Bowl, John Harbaugh against Jim Harbaugh. The Ravens were up 28-6. But after the lights come back on in the third quarter, that led to a momentum shift. The Ravens got cold, the Niners got hot. The 49ers stormed all the way back to make this 31-29 at one point in the fourth quarter. But Baltimore ends up holding on in Ray Lewis's final game as a Raven to win this thing 34-31. Okay, number 8. And this game, this may sound crazy. This is my first memory because I was 4 years old at the time. This is my first memory that I have as a child. Super Bowl 38 between the New England Patriots, who were on pace to become a dynasty, and the upstart Carolina Panthers. And now, the pattern of this game was so bizarre. First quarter, 0-0. Defensive slugfest. Second quarter, shootout. Third quarter, defensive slugfest. Fourth quarter, shootouts. Jake Delhomme and Muhsin Muhammad had a phenomenal game, a dynamic game, but they simply got outdueled by Tom Brady and Deion Branch, and the upstart Panthers lose to the New England Patriots, who claim their second Super Bowl in franchise history. On the trajectory to become a dynasty, the Patriots won this game 32-29, one of the most underrated and underappreciated Super Bowls of all time, and that's why I made it my duty to have it in my rankings as number 8. Number 7, Super Bowl 23. This was the matchup between the Bengals and the San Francisco 49ers in 1989. This was the game that featured the John Candy drive. Yes, one of the most brilliant drives you'll ever see in a Super Bowl. Down 16-13, Joe Montana walks onto the field into a very nervous huddle. And as a leader, he knew that he had to break the ice somehow. So he looks at his teammates, and before even getting into the nuances of the plays that will be called in this drive, he remarks about how he noticed John Candy in the crowd. It lightened the mood, made some guys laugh, made some guys smile, took the edge off, and enabled Joe Montana and his 49ers offense to orchestrate a brilliant drive, a 92-yard drive that started on their own 8. They started this drive with 3 minutes and 20 seconds left in the fourth quarter and scored a touchdown with 34 seconds left in this game. San Fran's defense steps up, gets a stop. Cincinnati can't respond, and the 49ers hold on to win this thing 20-16. Phenomenal game. All-time classic, and an all-time classic drive out of Joe Montana and those 49ers. Absolutely ice cold and great leadership displayed by Joe Montana. Number 6, Super Bowl 43. I have a phrase to describe this game. I think it's perfectly fitting. This is one of the most electrifyingly surreal games that I've ever witnessed. The James Harrison pick six from coast to coast, just seeing a big man do that, hoof it all the way down the field like he did. I mean, seeing that in real time, I was like 9 years old at the time, it was like a fever dream. And then you see him there on the sidelines taking in that 0-2. It was a hell of a run for him, but damn it, one of the most decorated memories in Steelers history. It was amazing to watch. The one thing that a lot of people forget about this game is that the Cardinals were just minutes, a couple plays away from winning their first Super Bowl in franchise history. They were up 23-20 with less than 3 minutes remaining in this game. But nonetheless, Big Ben throws one of the most surgically accurate passes in NFL history to Santonio Holmes in the corner of the end zone. The pass, the toe tap. As far as timing goes, it might be the best play I've ever seen, especially on offense. The Steelers win this game, and they clinch their 6th Super Bowl, which was record-setting at the time, but the Patriots have since tied that, and, well, they may break that this Sunday. We'll have to see. Number 5. This is where it gets hard. I went back and forth with the arrangement of a lot of these. I have Super Bowl 34 coming in at number 5. And now, this is the matchup between the St. Louis Rams and the Tennessee Titans. And this is another scenario where a team was mere seconds away from winning its first Super Bowl in franchise history. With 6 seconds left in this game, Steve McNair passes to Kevin Dyson. And I don't know why they didn't go for the end zone. I don't know why they went short of the goal line. I'll never understand this. But the Rams make a stop 1 yard short of the goal line, 1 yard short of a touchdown. Time runs out. The Rams win this. Jubilation for Rams fans. Devastation that has lasted to this current day for Titans fans. But this game was a great watch. Very clean football. Very disciplined football. There were no turnovers in this game at all. Great watch. Super Bowl 34. Rams, Titans at number 5. Number 4. We're going to go way back in time to Super Bowl 13. One of those all-time classics between the Cowboys and the Steelers. You could even argue that this was the peak of that Cowboys-Steelers rivalry. I don't even think it's gotten back to this point since. Yes, there's been great matchups, but this was the absolute epitome of it. The Steelers were up 35-17 at one point in this game, but the Cowboys would claw back and they would narrow that lead down to 35-31. That's the score that the Steelers would end up winning by. It would be, at the time, their 3rd Super Bowl in franchise history. But it was a great showdown between Terry Bradshaw and Roger Staubach. And there were some iconic moments in this game. The Jackie Smith drop, the John Stallworth 75-yard touchdown. There was an argument at the time that it was the best Super Bowl yet. However, as we all know, it has since been passed, and one of those games that have passed Super Bowl 13 is number 3, Super Bowl 49. The last time the Seahawks and the Patriots played in the Super Bowl, and let me tell you, we are very fortunate to get a rematch of these teams, because if this Sunday's game resembles Super 49 in any way, we are in for a real treat. This game was an all-time classic. The Seahawks were up 24-14 in this game, and at one point in this matchup, it felt like there was a shift taking place. It felt like the torch was being passed from the New England Patriots to the Seattle Seahawks as the NFL's next dynasty, because the Patriots had a drought at that time of 10 years, and this would have been the Seahawks' 2nd straight Super Bowl, so you could definitely feel that trajectory taking place in real time while you're watching this unfolds. But nonetheless, as he did so many times in his career, Tom Brady, with his back up against the wall, responded and led his Patriots team to a comeback. They ultimately storm back at a couple excellent drives, take the leads 28-24. But wait, there's more. Of course, there's that Jermaine Kearse catch, which was one of the most insane things I've ever seen in my entire life. The Seahawks drive down the fields. And then one of the most memorable moments in NFL history. The Seahawks decides to pass the ball and get intercepted by Malcolm Butler instead of handing it off to Marshawn Lynch, who was one of the most dynamic and powerful running backs in the NFL at the time. I'll still never understand Darrell Bevell's decision when it comes to that play call. In the moments, I mean, I'll own it for what it is. I'm a Patriots fan, so I was ecstatic in the moments. But in the back of my mind, I couldn't even comprehend what just happened and the impact that it would have on the trajectory of both teams. The second leg of the Patriots dynasty would be established that evening, and the Legion of Boom would slowly but surely disintegrate in Seattle. And so the storylines and the drama of this game, it doesn't get much better than it. And that's why I have Super Bowl 49 at number 3. You'll never forget it. You'll never forget where you were when that game unfolded. However, I do feel that there are two games that happened that, in my opinion, were better than Super Bowl 49. One of those is number 2, Super Bowl 42, between the New York Giants and the New England Patriots. The New York Giants were 12-point underdogs against the undefeated Patriots. It was unreal that they had gotten to that point of being 18-0. Everyone and their brother assumed the Patriots would win. I thought they were going to. I definitely thought they were going to. That duo, Tom Brady and Randy Moss, was unstoppable. That Patriots defense was nasty. But that day in particular, all of that, it didn't matter. Because the Patriots offense was stagnant. And it was for a lot of the playoffs in 2007 and 2008, I must say. But it continued to just be disjointed and out of rhythm. And it was the worst time for it to be. Because that Giants defense was ferocious. It was nasty. Those guys got to Tom Brady all evening. And we all know Tom Brady does not like to get hit. And then the Giants had late game heroics, the David Tyree helmet catch, and then of course Plexico Burress' game-winning touchdown. And the Giants pull off the unthinkable, winning this game 17-14. My dad's a Giants fan. I'm a Patriots fan, so I never hear the end of this. I truly hate this game. But in this video, I have to take bias out and put this game at number 2 for the sheer greatness of it and the magnitude of that upset. I don't know if we'll ever see anything like it again. And at number 1, of course, arguably the greatest game of all time, Super Bowl 51, the 28-3 game. Enough said. Patriots and Falcons. For a lot of this game, the Falcons were dominating the Patriots, up 20-3 at one point in the third quarter. The start was slow. If you watch this first quarter, there was no indications of a blowout whatsoever. But you saw it start to unfold in the second quarter, and then the Falcons really opened it up in the third quarter. And what's crazy about this Patriots comeback is that most of it took place in the fourth quarter. There was a touchdown late in the third quarter for the Pats, but most of this comeback took place in the fourth quarter. The Patriots sent it to overtime. Of course, there's that iconic Julian Edelman catch in this game as well. And James Sweet Feet White walks it off for the Patriots in overtime, securing Brady and the Patriots their 5th Super Bowl. And it was in that moment that it felt like Tom Brady surpassed Joe Montana as the greatest quarterback of all time. And it truly was, in my opinion, the greatest game that I've ever witnessed. And I'm only 25 years old. I get that. But a 28-3 comeback in the Super Bowl, the leadership that was displayed by Tom Brady, you can go back and look at all those mic'd up clips, as as bad as that deficit was, he'd been there so many times that he never panicked. And that mood, that mindset permeated to the rest of that team. And that's why they hung in there and won. And of course, I'll never understand Atlanta's play calling. That was truly mind blowing. That was a choke. They got in their own way. And so I'll acknowledge that as well. But you also got to acknowledge how great of a comeback this was, as I do think that this was the greatest Super Bowl of all time. But let me know what y'all think about this list and drop your own rankings in the comment section below. Please let me know if I missed anything. Thank you all for watching. Have a great day and continue to enjoy Super Week.